Well, folks, we've finally done it. We've made it to the end of Nagatoro. And honestly, it was a great ride. It was so well worth it. And it leaves that nice empty hole waiting for next season to happen now. So that's, the last Nagatoro and Senpai we'll see more than likely until at least a year to 2 years from now. And it's kind of sad. I mean, I'm probably going to rewatch the series now that we've gotten this far into it. Might as well rewatch it and kind of see how the flow goes. Obviously, with the development from season 1 to season 2 is just outstanding. So I figure, no, that's done. Kind of like I do with Re:Zero. Just kind of book it all, enjoy the moment, and go and read more manga until the next season starts airing. But until that time comes, let's just talk about this last episode, shall we? So, right off the bat, we see Senpai and Nagatoro on a train together, going to their date. And Senpai looks a little awkward, Nagatoro looks happy as hell. Got the both ends of the spectrum there for that. And Nagatoro approaches him and, asks if he's, getting all excited about the fact that he's going on a date with a real girl, making fun of him, as they do. And right after that, she's, just kind of slamming him, like, around every single corner, telling him that, like, I don't think you'll ever go on a date with a real girl. This is a practice date. And pretty much says that she's going to be scoring the whole date as they go along, even though clearly everyone knows it's a real date. We know Nagatoro's in denial, and Senpai is growing as less of an awkward individual, but they got to keep it going, And right after that, we knew this was happening, so it's not like it's a surprise or anything. But Maki and Yoshi are sitting there, legitimately just watching the whole date go down, and they're commenting on it, saying look at Nagatoro's eyes, and right after that, Hana and Sana are on their bikes right outside watching those two, like I said last time. And it's just this huge, like, cluster going on, and you could see her bunny ears on her motorcycle, or on her motorcycle helmet, just flopping in the wind, and setting up for some really great drama, or both, either or. And so we make it to the aquarium, and they're looking at all the fish, and you see, like, all the couples there and families. And we get to these little, like, little hermit crabs, and they're just kind of going around showing them, looking at every animal and how they react to it and everything. And they finally get to the penguins, like Nagatoro wanted to see really bad, and the whole main reason that they actually ended up going to the aquarium for their date. And we see this one penguin just kind of reaching on its arms, bumping the other penguin next to it. So, of course, Nagatoro's got to interpret it because it equals violence. And on top of it, it's the animal she wanted to see. So we got a little bit of that, and it was pretty cute and funny. And then so Nagatoro ends up taking a selfie with Senpai. And he's, kind of awkwardly got that little arm hanging out there. And but it's really cute because Nagatoro's blushing hard. They finally got their first picture together. And then they go and they show more animals, kind of just seeing them and everything. We get a little monologue from Senpai, pretty much, she says it's a practice date, but it's not for me, really, And it's like, of course it's not a practice date, you dumb boy. Listening to everything she says. And so they're leaving there, and Nagatoro's making a nice, realization in this room that they're in, and they're really pointing it a fact out that every single person in this room's like a couple, I guess, and they're all holding hands, and Nagatoro wants to hold hands. So she ends up acting and getting, like, mad at Senpai because she wants him to figure out what he needs to do, and everyone else is holding hands, and she's, every time he guesses wrong, she's taking points away from this date, and she tells him to figure it out himself. And clearly she just wants, the nice emotional hand holding, but Senpai's oblivious to everything. And Senpai notices that he's being followed by by freaking everybody. So, Maki and Yoshi are excuse me, Maki and Yoshi, oh god, Maki and Yoshi are sitting there on the corner just like, gawking and making fun of everything, and of course Sana and Hana are around the corner from them, making sure they don't do anything. But Senpai notices all of them and grabs Nagatoro's hand and runs out of there. And of course she's like, what is this, Senpai? Like, this huge rush. He's growing some balls. He figured out what it was and he's running with me? Oh my god. And of course they know that he noticed them. So they're about ready to get to go chasing them. And right before they can even freaking do anything about it, Hana blocks them. And she's like, listen here, motherfuckers. You're not doing shit. And like right before those two could be like, oh, let's go stop them anyways. We got the Kohai here trying to block us. Well, lo and behold, frickin' Sana's there to back her up. And Tits just hanging out as usual. So that kind of stops them from that in that little segment. Senpai and Nagatoro are actually out getting ice cream now. And, just to go with their personas. And Senpai gets just a regular vanilla soft serve. Fits him perfectly. And then Nagatoro gets a wasabi freaking ice cream cone. And like that fits her personality too. So they go to sit down. And, they're eating their ice cream, and Nagatoro wants to share or have Senpai try hers out of, like, I feel multiple reasons. One, to embarrass him because it's hot, and she knows he doesn't like spicy food. Two, indirect kiss. And three, it's just couple things. So then he says, he doesn't like hot food, it isn't even the indirect kiss, even though we know it's completely both. So she decides to try his. And before that could happen, he freaks out and their cones bump anyways, so they already got A, an indirect kiss, B, he's gonna have to try some of the wasabi, and C, makes himself look like an idiot. But so she makes fun of him for it, and he eats it anyways. And right after that they go to the Dolphin Show, and there's like couples everywhere, and he notices it. But right before that happens, they're kind of talking about it, and Nagatoro's about to get just splashed with this huge wave. And Senpai pulls the most ballsy thing he's ever done. He jumps in front of her and takes the whole wave. And she is just shocked, but it's hilarious because she's blushing. She pulls out a towel and starts drying him off and tells him that, maybe don't you think you're acting a little too cool here? Because it's totally out of your character. And so they move on to the next scene. They're looking at sea turtles. The one's bumping the other sea turtle in the shell with its head. So Nagatoro's got to interpret it. And then they end up playing this game, and Nagatoro wins this stuffed penguin that she's got hanging out of her backpack. And we get to the nice beach scene where they're walking together. And may I add, this show does such a really good job of just drawing and illustrating sunny sunset-esque vibe scenes. They do so good every time with the contrast and the characters and everything. But she decides to let him know his grade, and 100 points for being creepy, whatever, 150 points for slouching. Essentially, he gets a lot of points taken out throughout the day for it. But she concludes that the fact that he grabbed her hand and stopped that water and all that stuff added back up, so he's sitting at 50 points, right? But it's out of 1,000, so it doesn't even matter anyway. But right after that, we get to see Yoshi, and we see sorry, it's just so good. We get Yoshi and Maki standing outside like, oh, we finally found them, and they're gonna stop them or embarrass them so they do stop. But we come to find out that Senpai, kind of out of just curiosity, emotions, asks if that was a good practice day for her. And she turns around, and we get that nice key music that they put in these type of scenes. And she tells Senpai that, this was the real thing for her, and that they should end this date on one of two ways: either a kiss or a hug. And while they're doing that at the direct time, Yoshi actually stops Maki and says, look, we can't be doing this. And Maki gives her this like death stare, and she's like, we'll be cock blockers. So they stop, and They decide to go in for a hug. And right when they are just about to do it, and you can tell they're both just kind of embarrassed but wanting to do it, we see the four of them. You know, Maki, Yoshi, Sana, and Hana chasing each other on the beach. Well, they're mid-hug, and of course Nagatoro just can't embrace it after being embarrassed so bad, as she makes the excuse again of she was practicing her judo. Which is just absolutely sad. But it's funny, you know. We transfer to school, and we see Sakura talking to Nagatoro, while Maki and Yoshi are trailing behind. And I guess we come to find out this whole week that Nagatoro hasn't been talking to them because she's mad at them, understandably. And Sakura is just like, you know, they just miss you because you haven't been hanging out with them. You know, you don't have to be mad at them anymore. And they're just kind of like stray begging puppies around the corner. And right after that, Nagatoro's like, fine, fuck it, whatever. You know what? Just come with me. So they're going to go eat in the classroom, right? And while Nagatoro's approaching the door, she can hear Senpai just being like fed food. And she's like, oh, who the fuck is this? Opens the door with her owl eyes, her signature owl eyes, and frickin' Hana is feeding Senpai food that he doesn't want her to feed him. And so she sits on the couch with the jealousy rage eyes, eating a hot dog, and is like, oh, that's so passionate, isn't it? Oh, guess what, Senpai, do you want some of my lunch? And like, at first he's like, you know, no, I don't want you to go to the way, you got like freaking class in the morning. And she's like, you know, whatever, you're right. You can tell that she's mad, and that's not the answer she wanted. And of course, Maki finally is trying to help, and she's like, you gotta stop trying to be courteous, student. But before that, Senpai finishes his sentence and says, I'll make your lunch tomorrow, and you can make mine the next day. We'll split the load. And you could tell that's exactly what Senpai wanted. We get this nice shot of her with a little sweat beam, rosy cheeks, glossy eyes, and glitter in her hair with that nice highlight on it with the sharpening. Oh, it's so good looking. And right after that scene, we get to see Nagatoro and Senpai walking home together. And this is the best scene where she asks Senpai if he wants to finish what they started. And we finally get a hug. We get the hug, and it is the most adorable thing ever because the character growth we have gotten through this whole show. A lot of people are going to be mad at the fact that it's just a kiss or it's just a hug, but man, that hug means so much between the growth of who they are and the series in a whole. Like, from episode 1 till now, if you think about how much they've grown, and the fact that they've gotten to this point, even admit to each other that they like each other and got into a hug, is substantial. And the fact that Senpai's actually turning more into not a yes man anymore, but somebody that can stand up for themselves and, you know, do what they need to and not be embarrassed about it, while Nagatoro is becoming more of a caring, loving, accepting individual. And it's really nice and awesome to see. I loved this episode. It was so good. I'm excited for a season 3 if that ever comes. I really hope it does. If not, there's always the manga. But man, it was fantastic, and I hope you guys all enjoyed this season as much as I did. And I'm ready to cover next season's animes, but take this week and just do some catch up on some stuff that I haven't. And you know, yeah, that's about it. I could talk about this forever, but we're already sitting at the nice solid 14-minute mark. So I want to thank you all for watching this with me. It's been such a good season. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. You can comment if you want to talk about it, and if you're feeling cool, hit the subscribe button. It means a lot to me. And with that being said, out of the way, this has been Squids, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.